Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am the Pit Messiah, your host for the Quiet Storm live trading session for London for October the 15th, 2025. We have a going on right now, so we're going to get into that in a moment. Let's go ahead and hit the charts. To start off, we have a take profit hit from a call on Monday. Going to go ahead and get that called out first. It is a take profit on Palladium XPD versus the United States dollar for 62,468 pips. First tonight, we have a take profit smashed on Palladium versus the United States dollar. This was called on Monday for the London session for 62,468 pips. Nice little start to the week. It is very heavily weighted, so if you did 0.01 on this, then you made yourself a nice $6,246.80. Yeah, that's the way to get started. So let me get this recorded in our stats for posterity. This is win number 860 for the year. Which brings us to 3,388,518 pips year to date. All right, now that's done, let's go ahead and get to the calls for the night. There are a few. All right, we have comp USD versus Tether. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. It's a sell. The 1 hour, it's a sell. So why don't you go ahead. I don't like this because the aqua is above the gray. It means this is a consolidation. So we won't be taking that. That's another sell. Won't be taking that. We're long all week on crypto, so we get a lot of these weird calls where price action's in the middle of the agent section and it wants us to sell. And every single time it's called one of these, it's hit stop loss. So it's just not a good entry. Not taking that either. And that hit stop loss already. Likely to do it again. So we're not taking that either. So just like we've been doing all week, we're going to be tracking Bitcoin versus Tether on the 15-minute time frame. Now, the working theory here is based on what's happened the last few times that we've had, quote unquote, an altcoin season. The notion being that you have a market decrease in the price of Bitcoin. Certainly, we had that last week when President Trump announced an additional 100% tariffs on China, which tainted Bitcoin from 126,199 and change, an all-time high, all the way down to 102,000 even, where prices have been recovering from that for a few days now. So Bitcoin price decreases. You did have a decrease in Bitcoin dominance. If you're not familiar with that, that is Bitcoin D. And we do have that. It's on the down. The next thing that you have after that, you have an increase in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Guess what? We have that as well. Why is this important? Because Ethereum is the number one coin that is bought by people to use as gas to purchase altcoins. So what we're looking for next is a decrease in the price of Ethereum versus Bitcoin, kind of the reversal of this price action. While Bitcoin is still declining in price and Bitcoin dominance is still decreasing, because that means that money is flowing from Ethereum into altcoins. And the last part of this magic cycle is a recovery in Bitcoin price where Bitcoin goes up, followed by Ethereum, but altcoins outperform all of them. So in every previous 4-year cycle, we've had the decline in Bitcoin price, followed by a decline in Bitcoin dominance. You have Ethereum starting to outperform Bitcoin, and then eventually you have altcoins starting to outperform Ethereum and Bitcoin. And this normally happens in the month of October in a 4-year cycle. Now, the difference between this 4-year cycle and all the others is that we're in the midst of what could be the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, with no end in sight, because the Republicans are not giving ground to the Democrats on this issue of a clean, continuing resolution to fund the government for 6 weeks so they can negotiate on other things, including the healthcare expenses. We're also in an environment that, because of the closure of the U.S. federal government, we don't normally have the dissemination of information going out to things like the U.S. Federal Reserve that they use for interest rate decisions. So it's causing a weird time where we're not getting real clean information on the performance of the U.S. economy, but you still have markets setting price expectations based off of where they think the performance is. That may or may not be accurate. So what I'm expecting is that once the government does reopen, and it will, and we start to get real information concerning the relative strength of the dollar, the performance of, bond and treasury bill auctions, things of that nature, we're going to get a pretty wild reaction in price for world markets and cryptocurrency. And that's going to be the trigger of this real bull cycle. So kind of hold on to your britches a little bit, and we'll see what we end up with. It is 2:08 in the morning. We do trade futures along with the rest of the market. That's on a 10-minute time delay for the rest of the markets. So the way this works is that every 15 minutes, we could get opportunities to enter the market. These are done off of alerts from TradingView. In 10 minutes after that, we can also get additional opportunities for futures. Any other things that we get are going to be trades being invalidated because they were called, but they hit stop loss. Not called, signaled, but then they hit stop loss. Or something hit take profit. So it'll notify us of all those different things. So this, for instance, this is the euro versus the Czech dollar. It called a signal for us way back at 10 a.m. in the morning on Friday, October the 10th. And it just hit stop loss. We didn't enter this trade because the trade was in consolidation and it was called. And that was a good call to avoid getting in this because it hit stop loss. So just those little nuances, the avoidance of bad entries, plus getting into high quality entries. We end up with a pretty decent win rate and we win a lot of pips. DXY, which is the US dollar index, is down today, which means that Tether is a little bit stronger. So let's look at Tether versus the United States dollar, see what's going on there. Not a breakout of anything, but it is over $1. As you can see, price has been relatively steady for a while now, which is the reason why price has been slow to recover on Bitcoin. Tether basically is not moving. And we did get a recovery of about 14,000 points at one time. Bitcoin did get up to just under 116,000. But it hasn't climbed much higher. Currently hovering at 112 and change right now. And in the middle of the Asian range from the prior day. So 3 minutes left to go. No time to grab some water, use the restroom, do what you need to do. Come on back for 2:15 and we'll see what we get for the market. In the meantime, off screen, I'm going to start looking at news clippings, see if we get anything interesting for the day. Okay, 2:45 p.m. We have comments by the governor of the Royal Bank of Australia, Governor Bullock. And then at 7:30 p.m. tonight, we get the employment change and unemployment rate for Australia, presumably for the month of September. So those final numbers. We also have a lot of members of the Federal Open Market Committee, to basically the U.S. Federal Reserve today. We have day 3 of the meeting of the International Monetary Fund. We finally have the release of the Beige Book, which is the central guidance from the U.S. Federal Reserve at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is right after the close of lunch for the New York Stock Exchange. Be interesting to see what's actually in there, given that we don't have any real government guidance that's been released so far. So what data points are they looking at to make decisions? Are they essentially just standing pat because they don't know anything? I think it's probably going to be the latter. All right, so let's check a few other places. We got positive futures in all U.S. markets. So Dow Jones, S&P 500, and NASDAQ are all up. Gold is up above $4,200 per troy ounce. Another all-time high. That is crazy work. We also have positive futures On the Japanese Nikkei 225 and the Hong Kong 50, we've got positive futures on Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, and Solana. So, good possibility we break into positive territory for the New York session. We are going to be going till 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for the London market. Then we're going to come back for the New York session at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time today, going to 10 a.m. So I don't really see anything else that's interesting on the news front. Something that did go under the radar, though, somehow the United States government overnight sent $20 billion to Argentina to kind of bail out their economy. And this is in the midst of a government shutdown. We'll probably hear more about that over the coming days. Be interesting to see what type of deal Trump struck with the government of Argentina and what we're getting out of that, because they are one of the largest oil exporters in the world. So, I don't know. I would expect that we got something out of the deal. All right, we've got a buy on Euro versus Great British Pound. Let's see if that's on our buy list. It is not, so we won't be taking this. Another reason why I probably would not take this trade is that there is no breakout of the Asian range. It's calling a buy, but it's already inside the Asian range, and this is outside of all this movement. What's likely to happen is that we call a buy on this, and then it sinks back down to the Asian range and hits stop loss. This is not a solid setup. There's no breakage of previous structure here or here. There's actually a lower high. So this is likely to simply go down this one. Then you put on the order blocks and you see that at previous price, it rejected. It literally has no room to go. It's been bouncing between these 2 points since the breakout on October the 14th. So this is complete junk. Long-term Bitcoin is still seen as a strong sell. Still no real recovery in short-term time frames. Well, up to the 15-minute there is, but that's about it. So we'll see. At any rate, it's 2:19 in the morning now, which means we're not going to get any more opportunities for 2:15. Next opportunity to enter the market is at 2:30, the half of the hour, 2:30 Central Standard Time. It's about 10 and a half minutes from now. So we'll take a bit of a break and just wait, see what we end up getting. Meantime, I'm going to grab some water because I feel like I'm coughing up dust. That's why I keep coughing. All right, so this is a little interesting. So what I did is I took a look at the currency strength index, noting that right now New Zealand dollar is the strongest currency, Japanese yen is the weakest currency. And then what I did is I looked at the chart to identify we have a fair value gap. What I ended up finding when I looked at the chart, I'll take this off real quick, is this giant gap in price on Sunday. This would be right when the Asian market opens. So that's a giant fair value gap. What happens is price action, at least, just goes back and refills that gap eventually. So price is coming back down to maybe this level, which is where it was, and then it'll resume. So you can all kind of almost clock it by entering a trade here and selling off New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen for that little pippage, and still been fine. Now, theoretically, you would be looking to the left and seeing that fair value gap, catching it this crest way up here. And then taking the trade to the bottom of the fair value gap, which would have been for 241 pips. Conversely, if you take a vertical line, you put it right at that gap, then you go and look at the TDI, the Trade Development Index. You see why this is happening. So the 15 minutes immediately after this, you have a shark fin on the TDI, and then price tanked. And you can ride that bad boy all the way down to where price was. And that's exactly what happened. You see this pattern all the time. Normally what happens around 2 a.m., which is the opening of the London session. So London session sets the high or the low of the day. So if you get a breakout above the Asian range, then price is normally going to decline back into the Asian range. You get a breakout to the bottom of the Asian range, you normally have price going up into the Asian range ahead of the opening of the New York Stock Exchange. So the London session sets the higher low of the day. Then price reverses leading into the opening of the New York Stock Exchange. And then you have another breakout because there's extra liquidity, for at least for a 2.5 hour period of the overlap between the London Stock Exchange still being open until 10 a.m. Central Standard Time in the morning, and the New York Stock Exchange starting pre-trading at 7:30 in the morning and going all the way up until 10 in the morning. So you don't always need fancy indicators or systems ready to be able to trade. You just need to understand price action, particularly for Forex. Now this works to a lesser extent for cryptocurrency because there's so many other factors that can affect price action. With Forex, it's really not like that at all. And you can even do this on exotic currencies. Now, it's kind of hard to make money off of Forex right now because with the US market basically at the mercy of the lack of information coming out of the US federal government, which is closed, you're really not getting much action anywhere. The United States dollar is the most traded currency in the world. So when you look at things like the exotic currencies, which normally are money for making money, something like Mexican pesos normally moves thousands of pips. It's only moved 382 pips. This is junk. You go and you look at the daily, for instance, and you look to the left, you can see some momentous movement. Look at that. That's wonderful. But we're not getting any of these moves right now. Everything is moving sideways. And you can see it on all the others. Here's South African Rand. Singapore dollar, Swedish krona, Polish zloty, Norwegian krone, Mexican peso, Israeli shekels, Hungarian forint, Hong Kong dollar, Danish krone, Czech dollar, and even the Chinese yuan. Everything's moving sideways. And now you see the same thing on Bitcoin. Ever since we got here, even at this crest of the all-time highs, we had one here and one here. Price is still essentially moving sideways. It took an extraordinary event to get us down to 102 right here, and that was the announcement of tariffs on China. And the reason Bitcoin hasn't really recovered is because even though he made the announcement, he's been kind of waffling since then on exactly what it is that he's going to do. And until we know that, the market doesn't like uncertainty. It's frozen the market, which sucks. Because any discernible person wants to be able to make money right now. So you end up with weird things like this. This is the Asian session for yesterday. Price is moving completely sideways. And this is on a volatile asset. Bitcoin moves. Not right now, it doesn't. 2:30 in the morning, we haven't had any new signals come out. It takes about 3 minutes for TradingView to go over the 328 assets across multiple asset classes that we do trade. As you can see, we do trade commodities, crypto perpetuals and spot, all Forex pairs, indices, futures, and stocks. We haven't had a stock call in months, most because the markets have not really been doing much, but we do call stocks. So now we wait about a minute and a half before we know whether or not we get anything for 2:30 in the morning. If we do not, our next opportunity to enter the market will be at the quarter of the hour, 2:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are also coming up on a 4-hour candle for the Sydney market at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time. So best case scenario, we get a breakout of the Asian range to the top side. We have a rearrangement of the EMAs with aqua on the top, gray in the middle, blue on the bottom, confirming an uptrend on the 15-minute. And the type of price action continues through the different time frames until we have a re-restoration. The uptrend that we had on Bitcoin prior to last Thursday, when we started to hear musings that President Trump might do something crazy with the tariffs on China, which he did on Friday. By far and large, the largest liquidation in crypto history. I think the final number ended up just north of $21 billion. Just crazy work. So essentially, it was a giant liquidity grab. You can tell computers did that because it stopped at an even number of 102,000 even. And essentially, what happened is there was a cascading effect where, with the announcement of the tariffs on the People's Republic of China, The whales basically went wild and basically went and drove everyone who was going short on Bitcoin completely out of the market. So they went and grabbed all that liquidity, brought price up to 115,000. So they wiped out anybody that was long, and it wiped out a good portion of the people that were short. And now we're in consolidation. You can't tell which direction price is going. And you still have people trying to short Bitcoin right now, which is stupid because it's likely to do the same thing. These computers are smart. They know what they're doing. You can always tell when they make a move because they always stop at nice round even numbers or 1 cent shy of an even number. That would be almost mathematically impossible for retail traders to do by themselves. One of the tools I use is called Poseidon. And what it does is it tells you what the most recent high of price action is. If you look at this chart that's in the 15-minute on Bitcoin, it says the most recent high is 112,680 even. That's a computer move. It would be mathematically impossible for retail traders to combine to get a high on Bitcoin exactly at 112,680 even. So we know this is an artificial top to Bitcoin. That bottom is real. So now you start looking for order blocks. And what you see is right below the Asian range, you have a buy block. You have another one further down. But then you have resistance right at the top of the Asian range. You got a resistance above that. You have a resistance above that. So for price of Bitcoin to rise, it's got to break through all of this, which is why Bitcoin keeps hovering. Basically, order blocks are like the amalgamation of certain buy and sell orders for Bitcoin. So we know where everyone else is at in the market. That's publicly available information because everything is blockchain. There you have it. If you have TradingView and you want that particular indicator, it is the order block detector from Lux Algo. It's free. You go to indicators, you look for order block detector. There it is. And you guys are mighty quiet tonight. So you're more than welcome to comment, ask questions. I like the interaction. Kind of helps the time pass by a little faster. So at the moment, we are still waiting. We've got another 6 minutes and 40 odd seconds to 2:45 in the morning when we may get out more opportunities to enter the market. And again, to start the session, we had a take profit smash that was on Palladium versus United States dollar. It's called on Monday's London session for 62,468 pips. Congratulations to those that took it. Because it is heavily weighted, that means even at 0.01 lot size, you made $6,246.80 per 0.01 that you took. I know some of you over leveraged and made quite a nice little chunk off of that. Good for you. Don't do that again. Palladium is dangerous, but do congratulate yourself on the profit that you did gain. Hope you did well. For a lot of you that have smaller accounts, that pretty much made your week off of that one trade. Needed that water. Boy. Do you have a joint job, Messiah? No, I do not. I am a full-time trader. So I have a request to talk through my Sunday routine of how to determine buys or sells. So we'll go ahead and do that. So very briefly, what happens is we have a walkthrough of exponential moving averages. Let me go ahead and bring up a slide deck here, and I'll show what I'm talking about here too. All right, so everything that we do is based off of exponential moving averages. So you have the 5 and the 13. These are the yellow and red lines that you see on all the chart setups that I have. If the yellow line's over the red line, that means the buyers have control of the market on that asset on that time frame. The red line is over the yellow line, it means the sellers have control of that asset on that time frame. The other three lines are the aqua, the gray, and the blue. The 50 EMA is market equilibrium. Price always comes back to that line. The 200, 800 EMA are major support areas or resistance. Depends on where price action is. So what I do every morning, every Sunday morning around 8 in the morning, is I go through all the assets that we trade, and I'm looking for aqua, gray, blue in that order, or blue, gray, aqua. And I'm looking for the same thing on both the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frames. If I get that, it either goes on the buy or sell list for the week, and that's all we buy or sell for the week. I ignore everything else. And what it ends up giving you is a list of very high quality trades, and it keeps you from getting into things that are consolidation. Massively improves the quality of your ability to trade. So an example of this, if I go to my sell list, and I'm looking at UK oil, which we hit a take profit on earlier this week, and I go to the 4 hour, what do I see? Blue, gray, aqua on the 4 hour. I go to the 1 hour, what do I see? Blue, gray, aqua. So these are downtrends on both the 4 hour and the 1 hour. which means we take sales on this all week. What did we get on Monday? We got a sell on UK oil. What happened? We hit take profit. We go to buys. We look at something like palladium. We go to the 4 hour. What do we have? Aqua gray blue. We go to the 1 hour. What do we have? Aqua gray blue. What happened on Monday? We called a buy for 62,482 pips. What happened earlier this evening? It hit take profit. Now, it just so happens that we trade futures in addition to palladium. So in addition to silver, which we have a buy on, and guess what? It's in profit. We also have buys on 2 futures for silver. We have SIL1. Guess what? In profit. We have SI1. Guess what? Also in profit. So you're able to kind of stack opportunities based off the same asset class. And this is basically what we're doing over and over and over again. It's really no magic to it. It's just being consistent. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I don't know. The process of trying to get monetized on YouTube takes forever. So essentially, what you need are either 3 million hours of, 3 million minutes of views on shorts within a 90-minute time frame. I don't do YouTube shorts. Or you need 4,000 watch hours within a 365-day period. So which means basically you have to be very active and you have to have an audience. So every second that you guys actually watch does help me in that endeavor. When do you know if it's no longer an AGB? Well, you set the AGB for the week. But you know when it's no longer an AGB, when it's no longer AGB. So you're looking on a 15-minute time frame, and you get any other combination other than aqua gray and the blue, then it's falling into consolidation of that time frame for that asset, which is fine. But that doesn't change whether or not it was AGB going into the week or not. EMAs can uncross. It's still on your buy or sell list. So you set that going into the week and you stick to it. It doesn't change on a daily basis. Because what's going to happen is, say you have something that is an uptrend for the week, you're going to get retracement, a sell-off, which is going to give you another opportunity to buy. So it is very possible to hit the same asset sometimes 3 or 4 times in the same week and get wins on the same asset on a buy. Because price doesn't go straight up or straight down. It goes up, down, or sideways. So on a buy, you want entries on the retracement on the sell-off and an opportunity to buy. For sales, you want retracement on buys up so that you can sell again. And you want to do that off of your list for AGB because it provides you with high quality opportunities to get trades on the same assets. It limits your focus to those assets and gives you high quality entries. Now, if you combine that with automatic trade alerts, now you don't have to think about that at all. Let the computer do all the work for you. The only thing you have to quickly do is identify if it's on your buy or sell list when the alert gets called. And if it is, take the trade. No fuss at all. So normally on a night like this, we might have somewhere around 100 to 200 alerts going off, mostly from crypto. But with the U.S. government shut down and the fact that we had a bank holiday for the U.S. dollar on Monday, it's been a slow week. So we've gotten some opportunities like palladium and UK oil that have paid off handsomely for us. Those two trades alone, if you took them even at 0.01, pretty much made your week. Like I just explained how heavily weighted palladium is, which is 10 times weighted to a Forex pair. So even at 0.01, which is the lowest lot size that you can take, you made $6,246.80 off of that trade per 0.01 that you put into it. Most people don't make that kind of money in an entire month, even on their own jobs. And it only took a day and a half for that trade to hit take profit. We had a monster week last week. I think we got 52 wins out of last week. So far this week, we've only had 3. So you do have those wild swings every now and again. So I think as of right now, we probably have somewhere north of 40 trades that are open. That's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask them. I don't mind. All right, we're past 2:45, completely quiet. Next opportunity to enter the market is at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time sharp. That's the top of the hour, about 7.5 minutes from now. I am not surprised at all that Bitcoin has been relatively quiet. There's nothing to really drive the news. Uh, just this very irritating consolidation because we don't really know direction at this point. So until we get the opening of the U.S. federal government, we get real economic information coming out of the feds, we're going to continue to have this weird moment where it's kind of hard to make money off of crypto. So opportunities are going to be in commodities and futures and Forex, which is fine. We can make the money either way. And we have. Between UK oil and palladium, I personally am up around 11K for the week. That's not including the trades where we're in profit that I haven't just taken the profit out of it. I'm just letting those run. It looks like we're very close to take profit on silver. As you can see, we called that on Tuesday at 9:15 in the morning. That was during the London session for 15,495 pips. And we're almost there. And to be honest, I could have extended the take profit on this, but I didn't. When the signal was called, the Patrick indicator hadn't yet drawn the parameters, so I used pivots to give it to us. Those pivots have since moved a little bit, but it's fine. We're going to take this win and we're going to keep it pushing. So this will be another $1,500 once it's done. What's happening, gods? So just lately, we've had some questions about things involving third dimension, CAG. CAG? What's CAG? Oh, you mean XAG? Yeah, there is. There is. I don't see that. That's probably because you have the out of the box settings. I don't use that. So if you look at the Patrick settings, I'm using 10, 75, and 25. And these are different than the out of box settings. And the reason I do this is that I get more accurate signals, but I get less of them. Out of box gets you a lot of noise, and I don't really like a lot of noise in my signal caller. It's about 3 minutes left until the top of the hour. At that point, we have 3 more tickers after that. 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, and 4 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then we'll be done for the London session. And we'll be back for New York at 7:30 until 10. If you haven't already done so, please do me a favor. Follow the channel, like the video, and turn on those notifications. It kind of drives me to the algorithm, gets me exposed to more people to come and see what it is that we do here. Because it is truly remarkable. I mean, you're not really getting value like this, particularly for free. Everyone tries to gate it behind things. And, that was one of my frustrations when I first started learning how to trade about 10 years ago, that you had people that were willing to teach you how to trade so long as you were willing to pay for it. But you didn't really have people that want to help you profit. So it's like dangling that carrot in front of a rabbit that's really hungry, but not willing to feed him. And I never wanted to be that guy. So one of my first goals was, not only did I want to learn how to trade, but I wanted to be one of the best signal callers on the planet. And I am. So that's what I did. If you look at the description to this video, you'll see a link to Telegram. It has my personal trading group in it, Project Genesis. It's free of charge to join. Never going to gate that behind anything. And what you end up getting access to are my signal calls 24/7, even above and beyond the signals that I call during these live trading sessions on YouTube. So you can really kind of get a robust information. and you're able to communicate directly with me in case you have any questions. We do trainings there as well. So all of that is free. I also have links to the brokers that I use. Currently, it is LHFX and Liquid Brokers. So you're welcome to join there. That way you can actually get the assets that we have. And I use a color-coded system. So you have green for major and minor Forex pairs. You have yellow for exotic currency pairs. You have blue for cryptocurrency spots. You have purple for cryptocurrency perpetuals. You have red for commodities and for indices. And you have orange for futures and for stocks. For futures, I use Top Step X. And the stocks that I call are from Liquid Brokers. All right, it's now top of the hour. We'll see whether or not we get anything again. It's like 328 assets to be traded. So it takes trading view about 3 to 4 minutes, normally about 3 minutes, to review all of these different assets on the different time frames that we have. Because it is 3 a.m., it also means it's a 4-hour candle for the Sydney market. So anything involving the Australian dollar or New Zealand dollar can be called on the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, or the 4 hour right now. So that's what's going on. Everything else will be called on the 1 hour below if something is called. So it just takes a while to go through that list. Yeah, XAG is silver. So out of the box, we're using 70 and 30 as your markers for RSI overbought or oversold. It probably is showing a 30-minute entry. I used 75.25, so it didn't quite get there. On the 15-minute, it did, but not on the 30-minute. I am so sleepy. Can't wait to get back in the bed. I need some rest. All right, so we're getting nothing for 3 a.m. in the morning. Again, we do have possible opportunities coming on futures in about 7 minutes because it's on a 10-minute time delay. Next opportunity in the market will be at 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's about 11 minutes from now. In the meantime, there is an outside chance we may get take profit on silver versus the United States dollar. This trade was called on Tuesday at 9:15 in the morning, which was the New York session for Tuesday. So this was yesterday. It's just nice to see that kind of entry. And again, this is on our buy list for the week. Get the signals, we take the trade. That's simple. Ooh, man. 10 minutes left. I think what I might eventually do for my moderators is invite them to the backstage area where you guys can actually be in here and manage more frequently. So you'll be able to see how we broadcast on the back end. It'll also allow you, if you do have your own YouTube channel, you can take the broadcast and put it on your own channel and use it to gain hours if you wanted to. Kind of musing around with how to get that done. So right now I have two moderators, T Money and Cash Music 77. So you guys are always here supporting. And I want to make sure I recognize that by giving you some more authority in the channel. So right now we're in the midst of waiting until the next time frame to enter the market. TradingView does all the heavy lifting for us by identifying trade opportunities. We simply evaluate whether it's on a buy or sell list, and if it is, we take the trade. So right now we're watching a trade on silver, which we called yesterday, at 9:15 for the New York session. That is close to hitting take profit, slowly creeping its way up in price action. So just a good feeling to see that we continue to have progress rather, even in the midst of a very challenging week where the U.S. federal government is closed and we're not getting a lot of economic information out. So it doesn't matter, we can still make money. Sometimes you got to get it out of the mud. And that's also the benefit of being able to trade multiple asset classes. There's opportunities everywhere. At this point, the only major thing I haven't bothered to learn how to trade right now are options. And I may eventually decide to get serious and do that as well. So nice little movement in this 15-minute time frame on silver. You have a breakout to the north of the Asian range for the prior day. Price is taking off. So maybe, just maybe, there's a small outside chance that we get take profit on this during stream. That would be great. We shall see. A little less than 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Well, not top of the hour, to the quarter of the hour. 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And now we're just waiting. Oh, boy. GBP knock. This is probably an invalidation of a trade. Let's take a look. Yep, Carly buy on GBP knock. This is not on our buy list. I can almost guarantee you it isn't. It isn't. So this is a good example. You have a trade being called as a buy. It's not AGB for the week. A lot of people will get into this trade just because it was called, but it's not a buy. So what happened here? You have aqua gray blue, which is why the indicator called it. It gets almost to take profit, and then it reverses. So what would have happened if someone was using the strategy as intended? So it would have entered the trade, it would have gotten to profit, they would have moved their stop loss to break even at 50%, and then they turn around and get kicked out of the trade. And because they were not looking at the trade, they don't take their profit here where they should. They basically just lose the entire thing. Sadness. At any rate, we got about 10 seconds left to the quarter of the hour. Let's see what we end up getting. Looking more and more likely that we're going to get silver on stream. So we're obviously not going to be doing anything with GBP. All right, we've got a sell of the United States dollar to Hong Kong dollar. Let's see if that's on our sell list. It is not. Won't be taking that. What is likely to happen is that price is going to reverse and hit stop loss. And as you can see, the indicator didn't draw the trade. So even it understands what's going on. Then you take a look at order blocks, you don't see any. You look for fair value gaps, and you see, voila, there's a buy value gap right here. So price is probably going to sell off here, won't go past 50%. It's going to come right back up and invalidate the trade. Not a good entry. Not at all. We've got about a minute and a half before we determine if we have anything at 3:15. If we do not, our next opportunity in the market is at 3:30 in the morning. That's the half of the hour. Around 13 minutes from now. Now, if you're in silver and you want extra pippage, you can take it to 53.86185. I recommend you don't do that. Just take it to the original take profit of 53.10483 because you're about to make a nice little chunk of change. It is 10 times X weighted to a regular Forex pair, which means it is 0.01 to get $1,549.50. So for every 0.01 that you put into the trade, that should be about what you're making. Plus or minus a few dollars, depending on the spread from your broker. And liking what I'm seeing out of silver right now. Let's go. Now, silver's going up like this normally means there's a weakness in the US dollar. So let's take a quick look at the DXY, the US dollar index. It is down, which explains why we're getting this rally on silver. Really hope this pushes because I want you guys to be able to kind of experience this live on a stream. And where there's actual video proof of what we're doing. You can go back to the live stream on yesterday for New York, and see me calling this at 9:15 in the morning. And you come here for the London session and hopefully see it hit take profit live on stream. Okay, so we're not getting anything for 3:15 in the morning. We are getting some positive price action in the current 15-minute candle on silver versus the United States dollar as we continue to march our way towards taking profit. That's cool. Mhm. About 6 minutes left to go. About 4 minutes left to go. In the middle of the hour, 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're about 2 minutes left. We should know if we get anything for 3:30 around 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. If we don't, then our next opportunity in the market will be at 3:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, so we have a buy order filled on FLM. That is an invalidation of a short from earlier. Again, just not a good entry. Go to the 4 hour, take a look. A blue gray aqua. Go to 1 hour, blue gray aqua. So it should be a sell for the week. But you got an upward bias in the crypto market right now. Shouldn't be entering this at all. All right, so nothing for 3:30 in the morning. Got tickers at 3:45 and 4 a.m. to end the session. See what we end up getting. Bitcoin has now turned positive for the day, which is right in line with the news that we looked at earlier, that Bitcoin future was positive for the day. So maybe, just maybe, we get a move above 116 for the day, which would be nice. We shall see. Go, gadget silver. Let's go. 4 minutes left to go to 3:45. A quarter of the hour. Again, we're watching silver versus the United States dollar on the 15-minute. This was called at 9:15 a.m. yesterday, and it's about to hit take profit. If the price action continues the way it is right now, then we should hit that right in the next 18, 19 minutes or so. So we'll get that live on stream. So that would be wonderful to get. Getting closer. All right, just over 2 minutes left to go to quarter of the hour. 3:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. Got one more ticker after that at 4 a.m. Central Standard Time. Hmm. About to get what we want in about a few seconds. Last little pitch before the top of the hour. Let's see if we get this take profit in this 15-minute candle. Certainly appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight. Again, I am the Pit Messiah, your host for the Quiet Storm Live Trading Session for London for October the 15th, 2025. If you found value in the stream, I do encourage you to join as a subscriber, like the video, and turn on those notifications to keep abreast when I do go live in the market. The Quiet Storm Live Trading Sessions are held every weekday, Monday through Friday, from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for London and then from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. for New York. If you're interested in the brokers that we use, both stream, sorry, both liquid brokers and LHFX, those are found in the description to the video. You'll also find the link to my personal Telegram group where I call signals 24/7. That's above and beyond the signals that I call on my lives. So you're welcome to join that community. It's called Project Genesis. It's been a while for quite some time. And these are the people that I trade the closest with and have been for years now. I'm looking forward towards the throes of a very fluffy pillow in about 16 minutes. So I'm kind of fighting sleep for the live tonight. Didn't sleep particularly well last night. So I'm going to try and get more quality rest ahead of the New York session in a few hours. Fifteen minutes is a long time, so hopefully it gives us this last little nugget of push. You do see the candle forming a little bit. Let's see what we get. And it does not look likely that we're going to get anything for 345. So our next opportunity to enter the market will be at 4 a.m. sharp. That is a 4-hour time frame for all markets, with the exception of Sydney, which will close at 4 a.m. Looking like silver doesn't want us to be great tonight. Just a matter of time. Doesn't happen before 4. It's definitely happening today. So for those of you that took silver versus the United States dollar from the New York session on Tuesday, congratulations. So it is 10x weighted from Forex. So at 0.01, you'll make around $1,549.50, give or take a few dollars depending on the spread from your broker. We're at about 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Does seem like we're getting some positive price action out of silver right now. Don't know if it'll be enough to catch this right before 4 a.m., but we'll see. But decent session so far. No signal calls. We did get a take profit into the session on palladium versus the United States dollar for 62,482 pips. It's quite a big win. And we're about to get silver, another 15,000 plus pips. So helpful. About 40 minutes left to go. All right, coming up on the last 2 minutes at the top of the hour. Should know around 4:03 a.m. whether or not we'll get anything for the 4 a.m. time frame. If we don't, we'll end the live at that time and reconvene for New York at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's around 3.5 hours from now. All right, here we go. 4 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let's see what we get. You might just get it at the last moment. Let's see. It's very close. Not quite there. I may stay on just to see this happen. Come on. Oh, how greatly irritated. It's not going to give it to us. At any rate, I'll see you guys for the New York session at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. This will hit take profit between now and then, so I'll probably announce at the start of the New York session. At any rate, cheers.